The upcoming changes to federal dietary guidelines could have far-reaching consequences for American nutrition and public health, and not all of them may be positive. The USDA and HHS, under new leadership, are conducting a sweeping review of the existing 2025 dietary guidelines for Americans, promising reforms that prioritize sound science over what they call political science. While transparency and a renewed focus on public health are essential, there is growing concern that these revisions may be influenced by ideological or industry-driven interests rather than purely scientific evidence. The shift in dietary recommendations comes at a time when the nation is already struggling with high rates of obesity, diabetes, heart disease, and other nutrition-related illnesses. Historically, the federal government's dietary guidelines have played a critical role in shaping school meal programs, healthcare recommendations, and even food labeling standards. However, if these guidelines are rewritten with the influence of political agendas or corporate lobbying, they could lead to more confusion and potentially harmful changes in the way Americans eat. One of the most contentious aspects of this review is the debate over fats and oils. The previous guidelines, released under the Biden administration, emphasize the importance of oils that provide essential fatty acids, including widely used options such as olive, soybean, and sunflower oils. However, supporters of the Make America Healthy Again (MAHA) movement have vocally opposed seed oils, advocating instead for natural animal fats like beef tallow and lard. While the movement's push for less processed food is commendable, the broader scientific community warns that increasing saturated fat intake could heighten the risk of cardiovascular disease. If the updated guidelines encourage a return to high-saturated fat diets without sufficient evidence, it could reverse decades of progress in heart health. Another alarming development is the push to eliminate certain long-standing food safety regulations. Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. recently announced plans to close the GRA, generally recognized as safe, loophole, which currently allows new food ingredients and chemicals to be introduced into the market without formal FDA approval. While this move may seem like a step toward greater consumer protection, it raises questions about how food companies and regulatory agencies will adapt. Without a clear framework for evaluating new ingredients, the shift could lead to unintended consequences, such as limiting innovation in the food industry or creating an overly restrictive regulatory environment that ultimately harms consumers. Additionally, the announcement of these dietary guideline revisions follows a closed-door meeting between Kennedy and representatives from major food corporations, including Kraft Heinz, General Mills, Tyson Foods, and PepsiCo. The timing of this meeting raises concerns about whether corporate interests will play a role in shaping the new guidelines. If industry leaders have significant influence over these decisions, the revisions could prioritize profit over public health, potentially leading to misleading nutritional advice that benefits food manufacturers rather than consumers. Beyond industry influence, the political framing of these changes is also troubling. Secretary Brooke Rollins' statement that "gone are the days where leftist ideologies guide public policy" suggests that the review process may be more about ideological positioning than a genuine commitment to unbiased scientific research. The role of government in shaping public health should be grounded in rigorous evidence, not partisan rhetoric. If political motivations dictate what foods are recommended or discouraged, Americans could receive dietary advice that is inconsistent with the best available nutritional science. While some reforms in the dietary guidelines may be necessary, especially to address rising rates of diet-related illnesses, there is a real risk that these changes could lead to greater confusion, weaken public trust, and a decline in overall health outcomes. If the new guidelines prioritize certain dietary trends or industry preferences over well-established science, they may ultimately do more harm than good. Americans deserve clear, science-based recommendations that help them make informed choices about their nutrition, not a set of guidelines shaped by political ideology or corporate influence. As these changes unfold, it will be critical for public health experts, researchers, and consumers to scrutinize the new guidelines and ensure that they serve the best interests of the people, not the interests of politics or industry.